Okay, welcome to Change It Now with your host, Shelli Speaks. And today I'm super delighted, excited. I feel very blessed and grateful to have Dr. Monica Riley, but I say Bickerstaff. So what is the proper?
It depends on my mood. So I like to do what many of us have done culturally and with our ancestors. So I carry both my father's and my mother's surnames
Okay.
to pay homage to my legacy, my bloodlines. So, but I always
Wait a
call
minute,
my
wait a minute. I want to say Dr. Monica Riley, MD. It's important
yes,
to say
that's
MD.
very important, right? I didn't just make up the DR period. I worked hard for that.
I get it.
Yes.
Well, I was reading your bio, which is fabulous. I love it. And the first thing I want to say is congratulations for winning the Las Vegas Woman of Power. I was watching that on, oh, I love it. I was watching that on Facebook and I was doing this and all that kind of stuff.
Thank you.
And we'll tap into your bio here and there. This is also going to be in the show notes so people can go in and read it. But you are the award-winning CEO of Dr. Monica's Natural Beauty.
Yes.
And my first question is, how did that all get started?
It really got started by this woman.
And that's your grandmother.
My grandmother, my Nana. And when I created this book for her, in this picture, she's 101 years old.
Beautiful. Look at that hair.
I know, right? The hair, the skin, and she always said, I'm the only. So I'm the only grandchild, the only child. So literally, I'm walking on and being lifted by over a 100-year legacy of natural medicine women, intuitives, empaths, clairvoyants, and healers. So literally when I was 4 years old, and I was just consumed with her homemade biscuits and her homemade strawberry preserves. I was kind of looking at all these different pots on the stove and all of these lovely smells. What I realized later was that she was raising me up and teaching me how to distill essential oils for healing. And as she would bring in a plant or a flower from her yard, whether it was a peony or lavender or rosemary or peppermint, she would explain to me what it was and what it meant. Now I was 4. So, all I was concerned about was the biscuits, the way the wonderful smells made me feel. And it wasn't until my first career was in television, and I remember going home to Cleveland, Ohio, one Christmas, and sitting at that table as an adult child. And she said to me at that time, she said, you're looking kind of peaked, you're looking tired. And she said, no woman.
Don't you love the way family can just tell you that?
They just go right in, right? And I thought I was looking kind of cute. I was always, when I went to Cleveland, being divided between families, my mom's family and my dad's family and cousins and uncles and aunts and so forth. I thought I was looking, look, I was getting ready to tell her, I just got an Emmy Award in television. And I was getting ready to share all of this with her. But when she said I was looking peaked, I was like, no, she didn't.
Right.
But yes, she did. And then she went on to say that no woman, regardless of what age or stage of life we are in, should we ever sacrifice our vim, vigor, and vitality. And as I let all of that sink in, and as I looked at her, And probably when she said this to me, she may have been in her 80s at that time, her early 80s, but
Mhm,
looking 60. My Nana was never on any medications, never took any medications, even into her later years. She
mhm,
maintained her mobility, she maintained her home, and most importantly, she maintained her mind,
mhm,
which, as you know, and especially in these times where we are, our
mhm,
minds are aging quicker than our bodies. And so for her to reach 101 years before she decided to transition on her own terms, I will add.
mhm. I get
um,
that.
yeah, she still had her mind,
Mhm,
and that's so important. So really, probably at the age of 21, 22, when I was conscious of the conversation, when
mhm,
she said, "You're looking peaked,"
right.
um, that's that's when it all began for me.
Mhm. And how did this transition into a business?
It transitioned because as a result, well, she was right, of course. I didn't inherit my gifts from just, from just from anyone.
Right.
Both my nanas, my dad, my mom, but my great grandmothers, who I was blessed to see as a child, were still
Mhm,
living.
mhm,
Um, so so she was right. I was looking peaked, and that was the beginning signs of adrenal fatigue,
mm,
stress overload. And then within the last 10 years, now let's fast forward 20 years. So within the last 10 years, me being diagnosed with an autoimmune disease called celiac disease.
mhm,
And so she was absolutely right. And it was in 2016, after that diagnosis, when she was still with us, with me, and
mhm,
I was like, Nana, I need you in a way that I've never needed you before.
mhm,
I need you to share those notebooks with me.
mhm,
You've shown them to me. You've even read from them to me, but now I need them. I need to understand what they mean. I need to understand your notes. I
mhm,
need to absorb your wisdom because I'm sick. And that was something that I didn't want to admit to her because I didn't want her to worry, but it was my reality.
mhm.
And I didn't know where to go to sustain my longevity and to make myself
Yeah.
feel better.
And I just want to interject kindly that we do have an appreciation and a respect for the medical community. And I find, especially for myself personally, that we require a bigger scope of care beyond that, whatever that is for each individual. So I just wanted to drop that in there.
We really do. And even though she may not have thought I was serious when she had that discussion with me in my early 20s, even before I pursued my medical degree in integrative medicine, I was serious about studying the ancient healing arts that belong in our ancestral lineage.
Mhm,
So aromatherapy, um, herbology. So I went to school for that and became certified as an aromatherapist, a clinical aromatherapist, and an herbologist, traditional Chinese medicine healer, way before even I pursued a degree in medicine.
mhm,
And because, like you just shared, Shelli, my family legacy, like yours, yeah, we always had that respect for the medical community, of
mhm,
course, but we also knew within uh, our womanhood and with how our legacy,
mhm.
our womb legacy,
Yeah.
that these ancient healing arts were ours
Mhm,
and were ours to pass and share to our children and to our grandchildren. So really, the study started when I was about 23, 24. And I didn't even have a sense of the business then. But in 2016, something shifted with
Yeah,
this
a lot.
planet. Something shifted with this planet in 2016.
Yes.
And it's amazing how many businesses, when you look at, how many businesses were sprouted up in
Mhm,
2016, right? Seems
mhm,
like 2016 was the year. But I knew for me it was the year because my greater calling was to be able to reach as many as I could with my uh, products, um,
mhm.
with my knowledge, with my hands.
Yeah,
Um, but I also, in order to do that, I had to heal myself first.
got that. So I have a question. I know for myself personally how, I don't want to, is it important how big smell, olfactory senses are, to the point where I've always been someone who burns incense, like, my essential oils, my, whatever. But even to the point when I'm doing readings or mediumship, I will smell people in places and things. And I'm like, okay. So, my question to you is kind of like, share with us how important that is, but not only that, the importance of or the benefits of your products and those senses and how it kind of all ties together for health.
So I'm glad you asked that. And I'm glad you asked that up front because it's critical that we understand that our sense of smell is our strongest sense. Now, people may argue that it's our hearing, that it's our eyes, but it's really our sense of smell that connects us first to
Mhm.
that humanity that's in our core, that's in our heart, right? Because as you just said, really when you walk into a room, what you smell around you, including the people, really are going to make or break your experience and your presence in that room. If
Mhm.
you smell something that is so appealing to you, then you're going to feel at ease and your aura is going to reflect that. And by the opposite sense, if you smell something that offends you, you're going to be more isolated with yourself. You're not going to be willing to interact with the people or shake hands or hug people. So it's really your sense of smell. And we know now scientifically, well, science has caught up with us, the art of aromatherapy and healing through aromatherapy has been around for 6,000 years at this point. We used to say 5,000, but let's just add another 1,000 on there. And it began with the ancient Egyptian culture. So we know that the importance of aromatherapy is critical for healing, for well-being. And now it's expressed that 70% of our emotions are controlled by our sense of smell. Now, what that means is when we smell something, it hits our olfactory nerve in
Mhm.
our up here, up through here, and then immediately it affects the point of our brain that is responsible for our limbic system and our amygdala. So our amygdala, emotional response here, limbic system is everything else. Limbic system is how we um, process our hormones, how we, uh, our heart, our cholesterol, our adrenals, our kidneys. The limbic part of our brain controls our body parts, our movements, our organs.
Everything, yeah.
Yeah. So our sense of smell is the most important sense. So that's why when you meet people who have chronic sinus issues or chronic congestion or
Mhm.
allergies, I tend to be more sensitive with those people because I know that they're not fully functioning. And I don't mean that as a slight,
Right.
but I
No, I
know
know
that.
exactly what you mean. I'm just coming from having the congestion and not being able to taste and smell things, which was not happy for me.
Exactly. And that's the other caveat that you just mentioned. If we can't smell, we can't taste properly. And then if we can't taste properly, we can't intake and nourish our bodies properly. So it's all a beautiful round sphere, but it starts with our sense of smell. And so one of the things that I was blessed with through my Nana, but okay, so the body care and skincare mainly through my Nana, but I did my perfumes on my own. So
Mhm.
what I'm most proud of are this is my Black Orchid. This is the signature fragrance that is in honor of my Nana. And
And
then the
I
Egyptian,
have that
you
as
have the Black
my
Orchid.
oil burner.
Yes. And then the Egyptian goddess, which is a fragrance that both women and men love. This is pure ecstasy. It's amber, musk, and vanilla.
Mm.
And Black Orchid is
Mhm.
peony, lily of the valley, tonka bean, and jasmine, spruced up with a little bit of vanilla. I
Let
like
me say, oh, go ahead, finish your,
I like to add jasmine to all of my fragrances because
one of my favorite smells.
jasmine is the direct, it's a phytoestrogen,
Mhm.
and it is the woman's aphrodisiac, jasmine,
That makes so much sense.
right? And and on the other hand, patchouli is the men's hormone,
I like that too.
testosterone, right? And
Yeah.
so I just have to add jasmine to all of my perfumes and even my hair and body collection as well.
And I wanted to say, I've been to your house and she walks her talk. When I went to her house, of course, it smelled delicious. But at the same time, we were socializing, but she was also brewing things in the kitchen at the same time.
Right. I like to make use of my time. So when I have my beautiful souls over, I also like to be cooking up certain things. One, because it's so important to me. And in that case, when you were here, just so you all felt comfortable, and so it enhanced our time together.
Mhm.
For some events that I would have in my home, or back in the day, not that long ago, when I was doing the circuit of floor shows and expos and so forth, I would literally brew in my own diffuser, my travel diffuser, certain oils that would create a specific ambiance because
Mhm.
of the energies of people that were around me.
Yeah.
Because you just never know, right? You never know who's going to walk into a space.
And I hear what you're saying because I live in an apartment and I'm very conscious of what's around me. So I'm opening my windows and doors, I'm saging, I'm incensing, I have essential, you know what I mean? Because I'm like, let's keep this space really nice.
Yes.
So one thing that I'm recalling and I'd like you to talk about, I went down, do we call it downtown in Vegas? I'll say I went to the strip
Right.
when you were featured at Macy's, which was very exciting.
Hmm.
And so how did that come about? And can you like segue into some of your personal favorites?
Yeah.
And also anything that would be beneficial. Here in Vegas, we're in this fall winter season. It's a little cold for Shelli, but just things that are kind of like congruent energetically with this time of year.
Absolutely. So one thing, thank you for asking about Macy's. I'm so grateful for that experience. And the way it started is with the way many things with me start, um, where I'm up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and I'm sipping on some sort of wine. and I'm blending something and I take a break, or I'm distracted, or something calls me to my social media. So either Instagram or Facebook. And in this case, it was Facebook. And there was a sponsored ad for the marketplace at Macy's. They were taking applications for specific markets. And what they would do, they would, of course, uh, interview me as a founder, totally vet my business, making sure that everything was accurate as I
Was a
intended that
business, a real
was a
business.
real business with real products. But what it was a wonderful opportunity um, for small business owners, specifically women of color, to be selected to showcase our collections, our products, our clothing, whatever.
And it was gorgeous. I saw it. I saw the displays and it was beautiful.
Amazing. It was so amazing. And the team here in Las Vegas, of course, I selected Las Vegas as my first venue because I live here. And the team, I have to say, the team at the Fashion Show Mall was amazing. It was a
Mhm.
long process from start to finish. From the time that I applied, I went through after that 3 or 4 different interviews with corporate in New York. Now I'm from New York, so the Macy's at Herald Square held a
Mhm.
special place for me too, because that's where every Christmas season around now,
Mhm.
um, my mom would take me in to see the Nutcracker on Broadway, but first we would stop at Macy's.
Nice.
And we would have the tea sandwiches at the top. They don't have the top anymore, but the tea sandwiches in hot chocolate for me at the top. And I would always have my little Paddington bear with me. I always had to travel with a stuffed animal. And it was Paddington bear for me, hands down.
Mhm.
And just remembering, those are memories that are very, very vivid for me.
Mhm.
So when this opportunity came, I said, I've got to do this.
Yeah.
My history with Macy's began when I was 6 or 7. Me and Paddington and mommy, I've got to do this. And so from the time I started, May until August, when the big debut, and
Mhm.
when I tell you that the staff, they literally, they really indulged me, because one of the things for me, coming from a media background, I was like, okay, well, I have so many people here who have become my family. And then I had people coming in, my mom, my aunts, I mean, people coming in from all over, who wanted to be there on that first day. I
Yeah.
said, I want to have like a grand opening thing. I want to invite some media.
Mhm.
I'm going to hire a publicist. I want to have press. And the woman at corporate said, well, we don't normally do that. I said, well, maybe you've never had anyone ask, but
Look,
I'm
and
not
I'm not
asking.
normal.
Right. And I'm not asking you for any additional funding or monies to do it, but I'm going to let you know that I am going to do it. And it's going to be one of those things where it's just people passing through.
Yeah.
For me, I need to launch my collection. So they're going to be, I had swag bags and, um, the presence of you all and just everything. So I did it.
And I remember, because I cheer you on through Facebook, okay? And I just remember saying to myself, I'm like, if she gets this, I'm coming to this event. I'm coming to this event. I don't care when it is, what day it is, what time it is, I'm coming.
And as you did. And so it was so wonderful having you there, literally having, Las Vegas is kind of a strange city. And for me, coming from, my home city, New York, and then having family in the Midwest and also Washington, D.C., I come from a large family that's a very supportive family.
Mhm.
So being out here, walking this journey, bloodline family not necessarily being present, although they're moving out here now,
Well, that's great.
which is wonderful, right? But, we choose our friends as family.
Mhm.
And it was so important when, like, as each one of you walked through the door, and when you walked through and you came around the corner to my collection and I saw your smile, I was like, oh my gosh. I mean, it was like, for me, it was like opening a present every time I looked up.
Yeah, yeah. That's
You were
great.
there. You were there. You were there. You were there. And that meant everything to me. That's what fueled me, because I tell you, I was exhausted. Here's the thing that they don't tell you behind the scenes.
Right.
So I showcased all of my collections. So my perfumes, my face serum, and then my mindfully melanated essentials for hair, body, and we'll get into the simmer down chica as well.
Okay.
So what they did not say, well, maybe they did, and I was just kind of in denial, that I had to, of course, I was handcrafting everything. Now, this was at a time before I knew how to ask for help and before I was willing to really take the help. I handcrafted everything. So I literally had to have 100 units of each of my products that I was selling.
Wow.
And I had to deliver that to them before
That's a
August
lot of work.
4th.
I've done flower essences before, and I've never had to make 100 of anything. And that was exhausting. So I know the labels, the shrink wrap, the everything.
Everything. And I know I credit my faith. I credit, God. I credit Nana and Daddy, because in 2019 they were no longer with me, but they were with me, right? And this really was in spirit, that I was led and driven to do this in their honor through them, because from day one they've always supported me with respect to any of my quirks or desires or longings,
Isn't
business
that the
wise,
best?
especially. And so, I could hear Nana saying one of her favorite phrases, girl, you got to commence to getting or get got. And I was like, oh no, they won't get me. But look, I may be dragging there with my tongue hanging out, but it's going to be done and it's going to look phenomenal.
Well, I'll just say I didn't notice any of that fatigue, tiredness. You were fresh as a daisy, you looked beautiful. It to me, it went off, without a hitch. So
Thank you. And to me, that's in part of you all who were there, because, you know, we 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 revigorate. I'm gonna make up a word. We revigorate ourselves based on the energy that's around us, right? So
yeah.
when you all were there, I was like, woo!
Yes. So let's talk about some of your products and some of your favorites.
So this time of year, when again, it's a very strange kind of year when we're getting ready to transition into December. So, holidays aside, because that comes with its own drama, we're
Right.
at a time, and this happens every year. So when I love the name of your podcast, Change It Now, because I like to kind of inspire humans to uh, change their mindset, because this time of year comes every year. So it's not a surprise. So
And
prepare
let me just
yourselves.
say that this Change It Now was created specifically to let people know you can change anything in your life. You may not be able to change it today, but you can start to change things if you'll go on that path. And, I'm inviting people who are in that energy, so to speak, or congruent with that energy. And, this is just a little slice of the pie of a way that you can change your health, your life, your your mood. So
Because it's a choice, right? And we
yeah.
all have it. We all have choices. And
Mhm.
then what happens to us on the other side of that choice, that's our responsibility as well.
Yeah.
So when people are, kind of, and I'm not discounting people who really have a chronic issue or mental health challenges or so forth this time of year, or who might be affected by seasonal affective disorder. I'm talking about people who can really affect change, right?
Mhm.
And as you said, it doesn't have to be now, but if you are repeating the same course of action or the same repetitive pattern year after year after year, season after season, and you're complaining and you're moaning and all kinds, and you're just negative and just a real downer, then that's on you. But it's also your responsibility to change that, to affect that mindset. So
Mhm.
I always share with people, one of the easiest things you can do to change your mindset or to prepare yourself is to to operate in a zone of gratitude. And literally, well, I've had people say, well, what do I have to be grateful for? The fact that you're sitting across from me and you can
And
say
you can
those
talk.
words.
Exactly. You're breathing.
Right? Because the opposite side of effect is that, I'm not having this conversation with you. And then preferably with your attitude at this moment, I prefer not to be having it. But since you asked, I'm going to tell you. So one of the things when we operate in gratitude, and isn't this funny how traditional science has caught up with us, you
Mhm.
know, when we operate from a space of gratitude, we're happier, we attract more positive people, we're more productive. Literally, it affects our heart rate, decreases, depresses our nervous system. It's great stress reducer. Okay, well, we knew that.
Mhm.
you know, that's why people, a lot of times, and I'm sure you get this too, why are you happy all the time? How are you so happy
Um,
every day? Right?
Happiness seems to disturb people for some reason.
Exactly. And so instead of my super sensitive self, because
Mhm.
in these last 2 years, I've developed a thicker skin for a lot of reasons. So instead of me being taken aback by that question or being offended, because people can also, the way they ask the question, it
Mhm.
can be like, well, there's nothing wrong with me. Like, why are you acting like there's something wrong with me for being happy or being joyful or smiling?
Right.
Okay. So, yeah, I've got it, but I can share that with you too.
Yeah.
You can have it too.
It's infectious. It really is.
It really
It's
is.
just a
And
matter of, are people willing to receive it?
are people willing to receive it? That
And
is key.
one thing I share is that when you're grateful or in choosing gratitude, being gratitude, it's not possible to be in judgment.
That's right.
It can't coexist.
Nope.
So oftentimes, this is my own practice for me because I still judge people sometimes.
It's human
But
nature.
yeah, but I'll say, okay, if I was grateful, or if I wasn't judging this person, I wonder how much gratitude I could have for them. And it's just a question that I'm not pretending that I'm grateful when I'm not, but it's also inviting me into that space of gratitude. Okay, like a little bridge.
I love that. And if you start that day with that practice that you shared, and then literally before I even get out of bed, when I awaken each morning, I'm like, thank you for waking me up. Thank you for the fact that I can consciously, in this present moment, notice what's around me and identify it as my bedroom, right?
Right?
Because, and just, as I'm touching, thank you, everything is in place.
Right where I
Thank
left
you.
it.
Right where I left it, and if that doesn't work, then I start sniffing. And when I tell people they're sniffing, literally I reach for, I have a series of my own fragrances on my bed table,
Mhm.
because as we just shared, the process of inhaling immediately. So this time of year, I recommend that people invest in yourself, invest in your mental health, and get with my fragrances. I have my 4 signature fragrances, which this is Black Orchid, I have Egyptian Goddess, I have Cleopatra Love, I have Unapologetic. This summer, I created a new collection, my Love collection, Love Spell, Love Jones, and Love Notes, which are based on, well, Love Jones is based on my favorite movie of all
Mhm.
time, Love Jones. And then Love Notes is based on Cassandra Wilson's song, You Move Me.
Mhm.
And then Love Spell is Moody's Mood for Love. So, and then I don't leave men out either. So my Zen for Men collection, I have a fragrance called Oud for Men. And that is the
I
rare,
haven't smelled that, but every time I see the posts, I'm like, I know that smells good.
and actually I'm going to send you a couple of things I'm working on a couple of things for you. But
Yay.
one of them is the oud, because I knew that you would be drawn to it. First
Mm.
of all, it's oud. And then I have, let's see, some amber, a little musk, some frankincense, a little myrrh. And it's just amazing.
I
So
want to talk about a product.
yes,
So, came to your house with the intention of purchasing some scents, which was
yes,
fine. My cousins were with me,
yes.
and you shared. Um, the name is escaping me. Something in a bottle. The
Oh, facelift,
facelift in a
facelift in
bottle.
a bottle.
And I was like, not interested. And you're like, just try it. So you put some in my hands, put on my face, and you're like, go look in the mirror. And I remember going in there in your powder room there, and I was like staring at my face. I said to my cousin, you gotta try it. You gotta try it. So she did it. She went in the bathroom, she's staring at her face. And this is like that.
Instant gratification. Now, I tell you, this is my facelift in a bottle. Everybody needs to get it,
Yes.
because anyone, woman, male, child, any age, any stage can use facelift in a bottle. It's a sustainable product. It's one of my family's recipes, and only 3 ingredients, and I will share two. No, I wait. 4 ingredients. I will share 2 of those in a minute. But this is so important because living out here in the desert, and these days, because of the change in climate and weather and so forth, doesn't matter where you live, but our skin is our largest organ, and our face is the window that we present our brand when we walk into any space, right? So I would assume that most people want to look their best. So with that, you have to be really, really specific about skincare.
Mm.
And one of the things that I share and like to inspire people with is that this facelift in a bottle literally is liquid gold. I mean, you just need a few drops in the palm of your hand. And as you apply a serum, you pat a serum onto your face. You don't rub it into your face. So you get your forehead, just delicate under your eyes and so forth. And literally, and I've done a lot of videos and demonstrations. I love to tell people that, yeah, I'm wearing a lippy and eyeliner, but this is my skin, and I'm not sitting here under a filter. We're Zooming live
This is
tonight.
my skin. And
Right, exactly. Exactly. We have to tell people that, because they need to understand we're Zooming live. And as for me, myself, as a woman of a particular age, 49 to infinity, it's very important that I maintain my skin and my elasticity and not develop
and
crow's feet
that
and
not
wrinkles.
only does it do what it says it's going to do. It smells good.
Okay, so two of the ingredients. So one of the ingredients is the frankincense essential oil. And again, frankincense essential oil is an essential oil is a resin that is specifically akin to Northern Africa and some of the southeastern regions of Africa. And frankincense is a cure-all for everything, but it's also a skin soother and it will repair your skin. And then the other, which is so important to us, especially as women, again, this is a phytoestrogen, but rose essential oil, not rose absolute, but the
I could
expensive.
not, you know, I love the way it smells, but I would not have guessed that it was those two combined. It creates something so unique.
Yes, thank you. Because, and I listen to people. A lot of people don't like the aroma of frankincense or are offended by rose or whatever, but you're so right. The two together,
Yes.
it's something so special. And I have never had anyone say that they were offended by the aroma of facelift in a bottle. In fact, as you're patting it on your face or, and morning and night, it's uplifting people's spirits.
Yes, I
So
agree.
that's one of the things that's so important as we've talked about thus far is being able to proactively control our moods, that
And
joy.
it's our responsibility. It's not someone else's responsibility. It's our responsibility to create the change that we're asking for, whether that's our mood or anything else in life.
Absolutely. So everyone get with the facelift in a bottle.
Highly recommended, highly recommended. And like you said, you don't use a lot, so it lasts a long time. You do your face, it's still on your hands a little bit, and I love that. That's my favorite.
Thank you. And all of my products are all natural. I don't have any preservatives or toxins or sulfates or sulfites
That's
or
very important.
phthalates.
Because I don't think I know for me personally, I'm going to use shampoo as an example. 2021, I had surgery. And afterward, I was having a lot of issues with my hair because of the medicine. And I don't take medicine. So my body was like, what are we doing? And I was using my regular cheap shampoo. And then I switched to something that was natural, sulfate free. My hair changed immediately. And that was the first time I really had a tangible example of I'm going to say crap in the products versus without the stuff in it. So
I
that's
mean,
really important for people to know.
it's important because we don't realize. Well, first you can shop my products on drmonicasnaturalbeauty.com. I
And
want to
that
share
will be in
that.
the show notes.
And I also have tutorials on my YouTube channel at Dr. Monica Bickerstaff. So that's important because a lot of people, when you get to the skin, well, how do I apply it? And then I'll share the hair elixir in a minute. But you're so right. And this is what my Nana, she started teaching me when I was 4, 5, 6 years old. If you can't pronounce it or spell it, then
I was told that too.
you should not eat it
Eat
or you
it.
should
That
not
was
put it
another
on your
one.
body, right? And with your experience, oftentimes it's not until we face something head on. For me, again, in 2016 and probably 2015, it was my autoimmune disease and not really realizing how much gluten additives, preservatives affect someone with celiac disease from not only what you eat internally. I mean, yeah, that's, we get that, right? But how it affects your hair and skin as well. And then we women have to be so important. This is so important. We love fragrances, but oftentimes we're not reaching for natural fragrances or diffusers. So we're looking at the Glades or the Renews, it's the plugins, the little trees that hang from our mirrors in the car.
And my nose knows the difference.
Now, those fragrances are synthetic, and
Mhm.
oftentimes they are manufactured,
Yes,
not blended or handcrafted,
right.
manufactured with other toxins that for women present themselves as hormone disruptors.
Mhm.
Now, what does that mean? As a hormone disruptor, as a fragrance in your house, and as Shelli and I talked about at the top of this, going through the olfactory, affecting the limbic part of the brain that affects your hormones. A
Mhm.
lot of women find themselves without necessarily having a history of thyroid disorder or thyroid disease in their families, all of a sudden sprouting up with a thyroid problem or other hormone imbalances.
Mhm.
And it's because of the fragrance choices. And
For me, I would, if I bought, if I didn't pay attention, I bought a candle or something like that that wasn't natural, it would give me a headache.
yeah, yeah, right. Because again, olfactory straight up here, amygdala. This is the warning sign. You
Yeah,
know, red light, blink, 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 blink. You've just inhaled something that is not healthy for
yeah,
you,
not good for your body.
and it's going to manifest as a migraine or a tension headache.
Yeah. And that's always a sign for me because I'm not a person that gets headaches all the time.
Me too. Me neither.
Yeah.
And exactly. So I know something's wrong when I walk into a situation and all of a sudden I start getting it, feeling it here and then here. I know something's off.
Mhm.
And most times these days, I shared that I've developed a thicker skin and kind of like a little bit of an intolerance for things. These days, I'm not gonna I leave.
Yeah. I mean, it's not even being rude. You have to for your health.
Yes.
I went
Yeah.
to a restaurant and whatever cleaning product they used on the tables,
Oh,
I couldn't eat there. I
oh,
had to leave because it was so strong and it was like messing up my meal. But
yes.
it was just, I appreciated that they were trying to keep the place clean and everything, but it wasn't a natural cleaning product. And it was just kind of messing with me. And I just have to go.
And I totally understand that. And, these days, again, we have a choice. You might have to invest a little bit more, but again, it's for your health and the health of your family.
Mhm.
In the type of cleaning products we use, the type of home air fresheners and air scents that we use. My tagline for my perfumes, we make scents of skin scents. And skin scents are the closest fragrances and aromas that I can create botanically that will enhance your quality of life in
Mhm.
addition to enhancing your mood. So that is what a skin scent is. And
Mhm.
as we look at how things that we can't control, okay, so we can't control environmentally what's going on with the climate, right? You mentioned earlier that, yeah, it's cold here. People call me, I'm like, it's cold. I've got my heat on. It's 32 degrees.
Yeah.
It's cold. I'm cold. So we know that there are things going on in the universe that are affecting the equilibrium and the stability and the happiness of our planet. Our planet's not happy with us. And one of the things that we can do, one of the collections that I launched over the summer, again, this summer was hot for me, was my mindfully melanated collection. So what I did was I moved my hair, skin, and body care under the umbrella of mindfully melanated because what a lot of people aren't conscious of is that melanin is the hormone that protects our DNA.
Mm.
And so as we're looking at protecting our generations and our bloodlines and our health, basically, in this present moment, then we have to protect our melanin. And so as the sun gets hotter everywhere, the sun is getting hotter, but especially those of us who choose to live in this here desert, then we need things that are going to effectually have a positive effect on our hair and our skin. So the recipes, and because I blend to order, this is the Nana's healthy hair elixir. It's the bottle's empty, but it will be filled in a minute. Nana's healthy hair elixir is one of my Nana's recipes. This has been in our family for over 100 years, for real. And men, women, and children use this hair elixir. When she explained this to me, she explained it to me as if you have healthy hair follicles, then you can grow hair. And as she said, you know, you can grow hair on a bald man's head. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna use that as my tagline, Nana. She's like, oh, go ahead. Well, my grandmother, she also had a medical background. She was a midwife, and she was the first in the 1940s. She was the first colored nurse who was hired at the Cleveland Clinic as an operation technician. So she, you know, so she would speak.
My brain just went left, and I'm like, I just want everyone to know that only Monica can say colored nurse.
Right, because that's what Black women of color were known as in the 1940s. You know, she was classified as a colored nurse, and so so the hair elixir, and then, oh my gosh,
Yeah, that's what I want to try. That I was going to talk about that. That is my cousin Pam's favorite product.
Yes, it is. Now, the Rejuvaflex is kind of like, let me describe it. The aroma is kind of like it's like if Vicks Vapo Rub and Ben Gay, those of you who remember Ben Gay was the springboard for Icy Hot and all that other stuff nowadays. But Ben Gay and Vicks Vapo Rub are pure, whereas Icy Hot and all these other things, they have synthetics in them. But it's like a combo of Ben Gay and Vicks Vapo Rub had a baby.
I like
and
that.
So this is a boost because Nana also included a natural analgesic, which is lemongrass essential oil, and then camphor oil. Now, when you order this, I will ask you, and I'm telling this you as the audience, do not be offended. When you order my Rejuvaflex, I will ask you if you're on any prescribed medications, because the camphor oil may be a contraindication, and then I will leave it out. But with the eucalyptus and all of the menthol components.
People don't even ask these questions when they're making things.
That's what I'm saying. You know, with the components of the menthols and the eucalyptus, if you have any aches and pains, if you have any respiratory issues, if you have sciatica, arthritis, MS, mobility issues, Rejuvaflex will get you right.
That's my cousin Pam's favorite product.
Yes, it is. And then one of the things that I when I first moved here, I used to blend my own body oil with all kinds of florals. So gardenia, rose, peony, jasmine, geranium. How could I forget geranium? And others at all, right? At the time, it wasn't in a pretty green bottle with a pretty label, and it didn't have a cute name like Simmer Down Chica. But what this blend does for women is the florals that I named are all phytoestrogens, white.
And can you, for the audience, explain what that means, phytoestrogen, please?
So a phytoestrogen is a natural plant or flower that is a natural source of estrogen. So when I have clients coming to me who are like, I'm in a certain phase of some sort of hormone disruption or hormone imbalance, or it doesn't have to be perimenopause, premenopause, menopause, miss me with all of those labels. I mean, we women, we are hormones, period. And that's what makes us unique and special and wonderful and beautiful. So if we can, and they go crazy at any, they are disrupted because they're so delicate, right? So the phytoestrogens are any way that we can get natural estrogen back into our body. So for example, if we're looking at foods that are natural estrogens, let's look at the avocado, let's look at the pear. I use those specifically because they've got a nice shape of a woman for a reason. Mother Nature knew what she was doing. When you look at, though, essential oils, for those of you who know about aromatherapy and study aromatherapy, you're looking then at the white florals, which are jasmine, gardenia, rose, lavender, and geranium. And those 5 specifically will help you to get your hormones back into a homeostatic balance. And that's where we want to be. I don't care how old you are. I don't care if you're 12 or if you're 92. You still have hormones.
Mhm.
And the other thing that I want to add that's so important, a lot of women who feel that, they've entered into postmenopause, or women who have had thyroid removal surgery, or women who have had hysterectomies, when they say to me, well, I, that all that, I'm done with that because those aren't there. No, your body still has that blueprint of those organs in your body. So it's
And
still
I can say that from my own experience. I had a hysterectomy, but I still experience a lot of symptoms
that's
that
right.
act like it's still there.
That's right. That's right, because that's how your body remembers it.
Mhm.
So, traditional medicine will say, oh, well, you no longer have a thyroid, so you don't have to remember this, but you do have to take that, right?
Mhm.
Or with a hysterectomy, oh, so you won't have these pains, or you won't have to think about fibroids or endometriosis or this or that and the other. And your body's like, no, not those specific things, but your body still remembers you having a womb. So
Mhm.
that womb is still, whether you want to call it a phantom womb or
Phantom, yeah,
however you want to call it, your body still has that blueprint. And
absolutely.
so you still have ovaries, you still have the ovaries are really the hormonal centers.
Mhm.
So
They still raise their heads every 28 days.
they do. That's right. That's right. And so, so what can we do? Okay, simmer down, chica. This is literally, all of my oils are body oils. So they're not fragrances. I like to put them in the glass bottles so that you can reuse them. But you're literally spraying them into your palms, massaging the oil, and then massaging it, especially at your neck,
Mhm.
on your breasts, on your abdomen, your lower back. But I've found that women tell me that simmer down chica, they use it after shower, after bath as an all over body oil. And they feel, not only do they feel wonderful internally, but they tell me that they feel delicious. And so I love women to feel delicious.
All right, so we're wrapping things up. There's some other things I want to talk about that may not be directly related to smell, but I think they're important. And one of the things that I learned about you was that you taught at, I'm sorry, college. What's the,
CSN?
yes. And my daughter went there, and when I found out that you taught there and I was going to send her to a class with you, I didn't care what it was, but she decided not to do that anymore. But I really look at how, I'm going to use the word well-rounded, and how you reach out into the community and all that stuff. And so I don't remember the name of the class, but there's a particular class you teach that I
Yes,
think people should hear about.
yes, thank you. It's a class I teach at the College of Southern Nevada, the West Charleston campus. And I've been there for 16 years teaching English composition, English 101 and English 102. But last year, I pitched and was approved to teach a course called the Harlem Renaissance Literature and Composition. And so, for those of you who don't know, the Harlem Renaissance was the Gilded Age of Black culture and Black intelligentsia between the years of 1910 and 1935 in this country. And there's just a profound wealth of knowledge, of culture, of music, of art, of literature that spans those years. And for the first time ever, not only at CSN, but also, well, they never had that course before. And
Yeah.
so I'm so grateful that there's a new dean, a Dr. Felicia Thomas, and then my own department, English department chair, Dr. Levia Hayes, that they believed in me enough to support me. And so now I'm teaching this. It's part of the Sankofa literature series. Sankofa is a Swahili term that means in order to know where you're going in your future, you have to understand your past. So the Harlem Renaissance is part of America's cultural past, rich with culture and wonderful people. Zora Neale Hurston, Langston Hughes, I can go on and on. But I'm teaching that class, and I'm
That's
so
exciting.
excited.
That's very exciting. All right. So, what's one more thing you want to let our listeners know, either about your products? They're going to know where to find you. Just look in the show notes. If for some crazy reason you can't find it, you can just message me. You can find both of us on Facebook. We're not that hard to find.
We're all over Facebook. For me, I'm at Dr. Monica Bickerstaff on Facebook, on IG at Dr. Monica Bickerstaff Riley.
And you can go to the Change It Now radio. I'll have some things posted there. So what's one more thing that you would like people to know, either about you, about your products, or a combination of both?
I would like people to know that right now I have my products that are available at a lower price range, not only for holiday shopping, but it's critical now, and Shelli can echo this too, because I'm sure I know you're running into this, but it's critical now that we affect our moods and our presence and our ability to turn the negativity off. And in order to do that, you have to take care of yourself. So my mantra, self-care is healthcare. That's serious. That means that you have to prioritize.
I'm going to add that health is wealth.
And health is wealth. That's the truth, right? Because if you don't have your health, you're not able to bring in your wealth and attract abundance and to do all of these things. And I'm not just
So
talking
even if you
about,
have the abundance, you can't enjoy it.
you can't enjoy the abundance and you can't share it with your loved ones. And that's the point. That is the point, everyone. So I just like to, offer my products to you. Also, I have that's so important as we look at, everyone likes to trend the new year starting, oh, a new year, new you. Well, no, you need to be new all year, every year, right? So
Every moment is new.
I have a wellness, a women's wellness 90-minute session with me. That I really encourage you to take advantage of. As a medical intuitive, it's so easy. They are virtual sessions, and I will speak with you for a little bit, but as I'm speaking with you, I'm scanning you. And so, when we get into the session, I'll say, okay, I'm sensing that you might have a blockage here. This might be causing you a challenge, blah, blah, blah. And I am 99.99% correct.
And let
And
me add, don't be afraid to find out what's going on with your health.
thank you.
You know,
Because we can fix
I was
it.
a person that I don't, it's not fun and joyful to go to the doctor.
Yeah,
However, when my body requires that, I go.
yeah,
Okay. So knowledge is power.
yes.
You know, if you need to go and talk to Dr. Monica, don't be afraid to find out what's going on with your body, because that's the start of change.
Yes. That's the start of changing it now.
Yes.
We want you with us as long as possible. And we want you to have the best quality of life. And we want you to be conscious of being here.
Yes.
So it's so important to face whatever it is. I'm the type of person who literally, I'm holding your hand throughout the whole process for as long as you need me. Because at some point, I want you to leave me. You won't need
Mhm.
me forever, right? And
And
it
oh, let me
depends on
just
the
put a little
individual.
plug in there. If anybody listening, if you're working with anybody, medical intuitive, tarot reader, coach, and they're just keeping you plugged into them, that's not your coach or your healer. A real healer, coach, facilitator, whatever, is going to empower you and throw you out the nest.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. We want to inspire, empower, and get rid of you.
Exactly.
With love and a hug. Um,
Exactly.
but one thing that I want that this is an exclusive for your listeners, Shelli.
Okay.
And this is something that is unique to you and special to you. In February, I will be sharing a new line of fragrances called Amethyst, based on the healing of the amethyst stone, but also other gemstones. And I'm actually going to share one of the um, very important pieces that Shelli created for me. What, 3 years now? 3 years ago? I think this is the moss agate
Yes.
piece. I wear this every day. And it's so important as we think about moving forward into 2023. So 2022, 222, this is the year of change. And this is the year that we can affect our own change, right? 2023 is going to be the year of manifestation. Well, as we manifest, we're going to need tools to do that. And we're going to, when I say tools, because I can't think of another word right now, but we're
Tools.
going to need
Mhm.
all of our
I mean,
stones.
your products are tools.
We're going to need our oils, our
Mhm.
stones, our self-care, body care, hair care, anything and everything that we can to help us make it through,
Mhm.
right?
Beautiful.
So I wear this, most of the time I wear it on my wrists because I like to have this part of me protected when I touch people, touch my students or whatever. But I also wear this as a
Mhm.
as a neck piece at my throat, at my thyroid. I have a healthy thyroid and I want to keep it healthy. And so it's important for me to protect it as well. This is also the throat chakra. This is where, when I speak, everything flows from here. So I have to keep this here and keep it protected. So I
Beautiful.
thank you for this
I'm
gift.
so excited about the amethyst collection.
I know, right?
That's one of my favorite stones. First of all, it's purple, my favorite color. It's beautiful, but it's also both of my kids' birthstones.
Okay, so this is another thing we have in common. My favorite color, purple, but
Mhm.
this is also my mama's birthstone and my maternal Nana's birthstone, who is still with us today at the age of 103. Oh,
That's amazing. That's beautiful. I love it. Well, thank you so much for being here. This has been so much fun. It's been a pleasure. I love all the little points of your life that you've shared with us, and I'm
thank
excited
you.
that I got to be there for a couple of them. and, continued success and continued fun, continued wealth. And thank you for showing us another aspect of change.
Thank you for your sisterhood, Shelli. Thank you for inviting me this day, this time, and just so much love and a big hug to you.
All right. Thank you. And we will see you soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.